Today I'm going to be watching more from Aussie comedian Jim Jefferies, and this is him going on a ride along with the Australian police. So I guess obviously I've watched videos with Super Wog and their take on the Aussie police. This is the real Aussie police this time, but Jim Jefferies going alongside them. Let's check this out, tell me what you think about it. Recommend more from Jim, and I'll check it out soon.
Sydney, my hometown. A beautiful place to live. But someone has to keep the peace. And when the shit really hits the fan here, the people look to the New South Wales Public Order and Riot Squad. It's basically Australia's version of a SWAT team. Squad members Dan and Glenn have offered to show me their beat. So I hopped in the back of a Sydney cop car voluntarily for the first time. Could there be a riot tonight?
Potentially.
Oh, that's good. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Would you sing Bad Boys with me? All right, let's get down to business. I haven't lived in Sydney for a while, so I need a refresher of what I can get away with. How much cocaine is an arrestable offence?
Any amount.
What if there was cocaine in the vehicle with you right now?
Right now?
You wouldn't arrest that person, would you? How many prostitutes can I get? Can they come to my hotel, or do I have to just go to a rub and tug parlour?
A rub and
Come to my
tug.
hotel?
Yes.
That law's changed since I lived in the country. Don't ask how I know that. What about weed? Because I live in California. I buy chocolate and gummy bears from a store, and I take them to help me sleep now.
Chocolate and gummy bears.
That's my new thing. I used
Edibles.
to be a drunk like other members of my family.
Dan described himself as the black sheep the other day, and talking about your mother.
I'd describe him as a grey sheep. That's right. Besides being a cop,
Wait, I just want to ask you a few questions. I'll put that back a little bit just so we can watch that bit again. But it's just a few things with regards to Sydney. Because obviously being from the UK, we see Sydney and it's just this beautiful place. Looks like it's got these stunning beaches, great landmarks. But what about the crime there? Is there a lot of crime in Sydney? I guess it's a big city, like any other big city, I would imagine there is. But is there a lot of crime? Is there certain areas within Sydney where crime is more prevalent than others? And with regards to things like weed and coke and things like drugs in general, I know from hearing before that things like that can be quite expensive in Australia, but are they commonly used? You know, like being from the UK again, most people probably have smoked weed at some point. The usage is quite high, I would say. What about in Sydney, in Australia? Is drug use high? Is there specific drugs that are more commonly used than others? Is it expensive? Just asking for a friend.
sheep. That's right. Besides being a cop, Danny here is lucky enough to be my big brother.
Huh?
Look at
Really?
us. I'm adorable. Well, I've been doing important work, helping the world through the power of laughter. He's been a police officer for 20 years.
Cool.
And he's been recently promoted to inspector, so I guess he's kind of a big deal too. In our mother's eyes, if you had to rank each three of her children, what would you rank us?
Oh, you're ranked number one.
Why am I number one?
Oh, because you're on the telly.
Because I'm famous, and famous people are more important than cops.
That's right.
I feel like that's such an Aussie answer as well. Like, even though this son is like worked his way through the ranks in the police force, really doing good, he's like, no, you're more favourite. You're the more favourite because you're on the telly. I think it's just such a nice, such a funny thing to say as well.
Always love protecting people, all people, except for one. I never liked when you were a young cop, right? When you started out being a cop, and every week you'd learn a new hold, and then Mum's like, do it on Jim, like that, right? And I was like, I don't want to do it, and then you'd come over my head and be like, see how he's resisting there, Mum? See how he's resisting? And I'd always end with my face smashed into the carpet, Mum clapping, going, oh, Danny's a cop.
You've got a good imagination.
Yeah, you got a
Do you
good
like being a
imagination.
cop?
Yes, from me.
Yeah.
Now, I've never worried that much about Danny being a cop, because honestly, the job seems a whole lot safer here. In Australia, 22 police officers were killed on the job between 2003 and 2016. But last year alone in the US, 55 police officers were shot and killed. Would either of you be a cop in America?
No way.
Too dangerous?
Too dangerous. The potential for everyone to be armed is that, you know, instantaneous thing can end up in people getting shot. I'm talking about police or any member of the public.
You, mate?
No, I probably could.
You wouldn't be afraid?
I'm always of the opinion when your time's up, your time's up. That's a good way to
Very
look at it.
philosophical.
Yeah.
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 If you like that
Morbid.
brother with the bulletproof vest,
Yeah, I know we're a bulletproof vest. What are you doing?
do you ever expect someone to have a gun on them? Or it just never happens?
We know that there are guns out there, but it's not an expectation that a car we're going to stop that they have guns on them. No.
Now, this all seems quite interesting, but I still need answers from my brother on a few very important issues. Would you admit to holding me down every day and cracking all my toes, and now I have arthritic feet? You have to be smart to be a detective? All smart? Don't want to answer that one? What's the best way to get out of a speeding ticket?
Honesty.
So I shouldn't have sucked the guy's then. Danny's just shut down. He's not even answering my question. Turn in your
He's like sitting beside his partner or whoever, man, and he's like, my brother's just embarrassing me here, man.
badge, Mahoney.
There's a fair chance it's going to happen after this.
So, did I film this segment just so I could get paid to annoy my brother at
Yeah.
work? Yes, I did. Then, did I ask him to walk me around downtown Sydney knowing full well what would happen? Where's all the action?
Well, we've got to wait for it to occur.
Yes, I did.
Are you f***ing for real, dude? He's so in love with you, I have no idea.
Now, was our mother right? Who really deserves all this attention? That's not for me to decide, but no one's asking you for any pictures. After years of Danny's brotherly abuse, it's just my way of showing him how much I care. Do you love me, and will you say that you love me? Say I love you. Say the actual words, say I love you.
I love you, Jim.
This is fucking weird. Why would you do that? It's very uncomfortable now.
Just taking the absolute piss out of him, man.
Night, but that makes any relative of a cop pretty happy. And it's a reminder that if you're pro-cop, you should also be pro-gun control. Because if you have a relative who's a police officer, don't you think it's safer for them to patrol a place with this many guns in the street instead of this many guns?
Ooh.
I think I've gotten all the answers I need for one night, but I can't end this until these guys do one last thing. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? They all do it eventually. They all do it.
Very good, man. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so I had no idea that Jim Jefferies' brother was a police officer. Such like different careers, but good to see they're both successful and it like seem like pretty cool brothers as well, man. He's Jim just taking the absolute piss out of him that whole time. But yeah, tell me what you think about that, and yeah, just tell me more about crime and things in Australia, in Sydney. Does it vary between like the big cities and the rural areas? Is there different types of crime in the rural areas and things like that? Maybe I'll try and find some videos. That it seems like quite an interesting area to explore as well. Yeah, recommend more from Jim as well. Thanks.